Class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we learn the Haftorah from Yom Kippur Day. That's on page 207 in our prayer books. The Haftorah is from the book of Isaiah. It's in the middle of chapter 57 and all of chapter 58. Yom Kippur is a day that we fast. But in the Torah it's not written to fast. What's written in the Torah?
To afflict yourself,
To afflict yourself.
whatever that means.
תענו את נפשותיכם. It's not written to fast. The rabbis tell us and how you afflict yourself by fasting. One of the places we learn it, what means the rabbi tell us? When Moses told the Jewish people to afflict themselves, they asked him, what does this mean? Then the first year you have to tell them what it means, right? Because afflicting yourself, you leave it up to the people. So the commentary, somebody will say, I invite my mother-in-law. Afflicting yourself could be whatever, everyone on his own level.
Oh, wow.
God forbid. No, we're talking about their mother-in-law. We're not talking about ourselves. I'm a father-in-law too, and my wife is a mother-in-law. But we are not. It's only they. Then Moses told them right away what it means. But one of the proofs, so to speak, is in the Haftorah of today. I also think it's in the Parsha of last week. While I was reading the Parsha of the week, while I was reading from the Torah, Moses describes the story of the golden calf. How he was up in the mountain, they sinned, he came down, he broke. And he first writes, I was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. And I didn't eat and didn't drink, and I got the first tablet. Then he says, I went back for 40 days and 40 nights, didn't eat and didn't drink. Why? Because I prayed for God should forgive you. That means that for forgiveness, you fast. May God should atone for your sin. And you can see how Moses links the two things. They're not eating and drinking for 40 days and 40 nights with forgiveness, with atonement for the sin. And we see that because even it's written by us only, you should afflict yourself, but it's written Yom Kippur, that's this word, the Day of Atonement, that's written in the Bible. We see when Moses speaks about atonement, he says not eating and not drinking. Then we link these two things together. Another thing that we learn from this Haftorah is the idea we blow the shofar. It's written in the Bible, in the Torah, it's written about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Teruah Yeh Lachem, a day of sounding. It's not even written the word shofar. We learn it from one place to another place, it's a shofar. But why we blow the shofar? Ask every Jew why we blow the shofar. To do what? Why is the shofar being blown?
To get their attention.
Wake-up call.
To a wake-up call. This is written in today's Haftorah. Also from the book of Isaiah. But most important everything, this Haftorah is the dream of every liberal. It's like, when they read this Haftorah, they smile. They're like, Isaiah attacks, if you want, the whole idea of rituals. I need your prayers, I need your fasting. Take care of the poor, the needy. That's what we need you to do. Does it mean that God doesn't want the prayers and doesn't want the rituals? Then first of all, it's like, when you read this, forever there are many Jews who are busy only between mitzvahs and men, based on these chapters in the book of Isaiah, from the prophets, if you want. Because the prophets speak mainly about the sins between men and men. Why? You don't hear in the prophets speaking about why you don't put on film, why you don't come to shul, why you don't do this, you don't keep kosher. None. Why you don't care for why you deprive the poor, why you don't take care of your brother, why you mean to you this? Because the Jews in biblical times in Israel were ritually religious, but not nice to each other. When they went outside of Israel, we became very morally good Jews, very nice people, but not religious. That's why the rabbis speak more about the rituals, because it's always what we are missing, not what we are not missing. This and much more in this Haftorah, but let's get a little bit into it. It's interesting, the parsha that we read on Yom Kippur, the Torah reading on Yom Kippur Day, is more about what the Kohen is supposed to do on Yom Kippur in the temple. It's rituals. The Haftorah is completely not about rituals. It's like the ultimate contradiction. The Kohen's and the prophet. The Kohen's job was, what's the Kohen's job? He has to offer the sacrifice exactly. This amount of water, and this amount of blood, and this amount of flour, and he has to do it this way, and you have to immerse himself in the mikveh 5 times. It's all about, they made a rehearsal in the temple because he needs to know how to do it exactly. And there were 20 Kohens looking over him like this, they do it wrong. And that's what you're going on in shul. Hey, they read in the Torah, they correct you. That's all the world of rituals. Comes the prophet and he says, rituals. What's with the guy sitting next chair to you in shul? You ever said hello to him? By the way, I spoke about a few weeks ago about Finland, how beautiful it is, and the school system and the education. But a guy, an Israeli reporter, went to Finland to write about the education. The taxi driver who took him was a Turkish guy. He told him, yeah, it's a nice country. I said, but I lived 10 years in a building. Nobody ever said hello to me.
Cold.
And you can have the best education and the most proper people. Nobody said hello to him because he's a foreigner. Then what is really happening? The parsha speaks about rituals. The Haftorah speaks about morals. The answer is, it's not a contradiction. It's actually complementing each other. A Jew is a combination of two. Because from morals alone, you don't raise Jews. There is many moral people, they don't have to be Jewish. Why there is assimilation so big in the United States? Because it was the stress was only on morality, only on being nice to your neighbor, only about standing up for the pride, for the underdog. You go to college, you meet another child, another student, who is just as moral as you are, and is actually a bigger fighter for Black Lives Matters, and he goes to all the demonstrations, and he is volunteering in the soup kitchens, and he's caring for the homeless. He brings home the ultimate child that the parents raised them, even better than me. I was expecting from his parents to say, "Oh, that's exactly that's my dream." And then the parents say, "Yeah, but what but?" Then we need to be Jewish to raise a next Jewish generation. You must have rituals. That's what keeps Judaism going. Then morality is the spiritual part. The rituals is like the body and the soul. The soul is the morality. The rituals are the body. A soul without a body doesn't go on to the next generation. Souls are nice, but can you make a meal from souls? You need bodies. But this guy is not moral. Yeah, he's not moral, but he's a Jew. Let's count it to the minion. Then it's not a contradiction. The parsha and the Haftorah are actually complementing each other, and a person walks away from shul with this message together. We need to have rituals, and we need to be moral. At the right hand and the left hand, the two tablets. One tablet speaks about the commandment between man and God, the other one about the commandment between man and man. You cannot have one tablet without the other. They're going together. 5 on this and 5 on this. And God didn't write the Ten Commandments on one tablet. He made two. Because it looks like it could be separate. I can take one tablet. There is one of the movies that Moses comes down, one of the comedy shows, he comes down with 15, I have for you 10 commandments, because one of them falls.
Okay.
It's a good one, yeah. I saw that.
Then many people, the joke is the reality. That's sad, you know.
Yeah.
Many people have two tablets, they drop one. So there's only one. People ask me many times why religious Jews are not so honest. They need to understand. In his mind, he has 250 mitzvahs a day. So one mitzvah, he was so perfect. No. He forgives himself very quick, you understand? Because he's doing so many others. That he dropped this tablet, other Jews dropped the other tablet. There is two tablets, because you need both of them, and they are complementing, like husband and wife. The two tablets really represents a couple. A couple makes a marriage, makes a life. One by itself doesn't work. Two tablets. You need a Jew is a complete Jew, who has morality, in his spirituality, in his rituals. He has both of them together, between men and God and men and men. Then the Haftorah goes to speak about it to men and men. The Parsha, you read it and you listen on Yom Kippur. Okay, let's start.
And the prophet in the name of God declares, make a path, clear the way, remove any obstacle from the path of my people. For thus said the lofty and exalted one who abides for eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the supernal heights and in a holy place, yet I am with the brokenhearted and humble of spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble, to revive the heart of the crushed.
Okay. First of all, God says, clear the path for my people. What means clear the path for my people? I'm sorry. I'm trying to become more in tune to yeah, but it doesn't work for some reason. Why it's not working?
You need a teenager.
You're right.
You gotta start when you're young, man.
You'll give me a minute. You forgive me, right?
Do you have a choice?
Yes. We always have a choice.
Okay. There is the next paragraph that he says, I will, on one end, I'm in the very high, on the other end, the two I'm living, the two I'm, yet I'm with the brokenhearted and the humble of spirit. Where you can find God? In the brokenhearted. God is the lowest. There is another saying, he spoke about the underdog. There is a verse in the prophet that says, Elokim yevakesh et anirdaf. God will always be with the nirdaf, with the underdog. That's that the Jewish people naturally always cited the underdog. It's not because of their experience. Not only, because you remember. No. It's deeper than that. It's because we are like God. God is always with the underdog. Once the Rebbe spoke about, I remember that about going Sukkot to the jails. The Rebbe said that the Medrash says on this verse, God is with the underdog. Even the person who is the language in the Bible, the Torah doesn't use the word underdog. The Torah uses nirdaf. Nirdaf is mean why everybody pursues them. The guy who the pursuer and the one who is being pursued. The runner and the one you run after. And the Medrash says even the one who is being run after is the bad guy. And the one who runs after him is the right guy. God is with another. Means to say, doesn't mean that the guy in jail is the right guy. He's a good guy. He's a bad guy. But the bottom line is now suffering. That is with them. This sensitivity is straight from the Bible. That's why the Rebbe said, there is a Jew in jail. We have to go to visit him, to bring him a lulav, to strengthen his spirit. Doesn't mean he has to leave the jail. But we have to take care of him even in jail. Here, Rabbi Yochanan says something amazing. Rabbi Yochanan was the author of the Jerusalem Talmud. Rabbi Yochanan was the Rebbe of Israel in his time, in the time of in Talmudic times. His Talmud was closed 100 years before the Babylonian Talmud. Talking about 2,000 years ago. 1900 years ago. There are many times in the Talmud you say, students of Rabbi Yochanan say, Ochi Omar Rabbi Yochanan. That's what Rabbi Yochanan says. And when you say, this is what Rabbi Yochanan says, it's like laying the law. Rabbi Yochanan says this, and there is no argument. That Rabbi Yochanan says, wherever you find the greatness of God, you find his humbleness. And he says it's written in the Bible, in the 5 books of Moses, it's repeated in the prophet, and it's written again for a 3rd time in the scriptures. You know, the Tanakh is divided into 3 pieces. Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim. It says it's written in Torah, in Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. That he says where it's written in Torah. It's written in Torah in the beginning of, actually I think it was last week's Parsha. God is, God your God is Elokei Elokim ve'Adonai Adonim. God is the God of all gods and the master of all masters. The greatest. Right next to it is written, Oseh Mishpat Yatom V'Almana. He's standing up, is the judge for the orphan and for the widow. Means to say, he stands up for the most poor, for the worst of the worst, for the people that nobody stands up for them. In the prophet, he says, it's this word from Isaiah. The Tanwan, God says, I'm at the highest of the highest. What we know where I've been found? I'm found by the most, you want to find me? By the most humble people. Who is the most humble people? Because life makes them humble. They are suffering. They are ruach. I'm coming to strengthen the spirit of the people who are the underdog. And the people who are the nitkaim. The nitkaim is like the people who are suffering, who don't have a life and broken. Then it's written, it says in the book of Psalms, it's written, Solu lerochev haravot. Rochev haravot is God who is riding on the angels, on the clouds, the highest level. And right after that it's written, Avi etomim v'dayan almanot, the father of the orphans and the judge who stands up for the widows. Then every time when you see God, the highest of the highest, you see right next to it that is the lowest in the lowest of the lowest. And where you want to see God, where you can find as Dakov Shval Ruach, God, where you find God, where there is humble. You see it, maybe I mentioned that, I don't remember what I mentioned, where, what, when, but it's written the word Adam. Adam and Eve, right? What's the word Adam comes from in Hebrew? What is this? Why we call Adam?
Earth. Of the earth.
Earth. Adama. Adama means earth. Man comes from earth. There's another verse. Adame le'elyon. Like Adama, the word Adama can be Adame. The same 4 letters. Adame means like the above. Elyon, the above. That a man is a combination of 2 things. You can be like coming from earth, and you're like them. What is really, I'm going to learn this, actually it's coming in a minute. A human being is a combination of two things. The earth, the lowest of the lowest, with the highest of the highest. And every minute he can choose where he wants to go. Here or there. Now, I mentioned that somebody told me it's a contradiction. What kind of a message is it? You tell us we are Adama. We are the Lord. Remember that we are coming from the laws of the laws. On the other hand, you tell us you are like God. But what are we? The truth is it's not even a contradiction. It's complementing each other. When can you get to Adam El Elyon? When you're going to get closer to God? When you look at yourself as your Adama. Who am I? Only when I'm humble, I can enter God. If there is no humble or a spirit of humbleness, a full cup cannot pour anything inside. When the cup is empty, there is space for everything. There's always space for more. People say, I don't have place. He's saying, when you have one room, there is place for guests. 2 rooms, 3 rooms, you don't even place for the bigger the house, you don't even place for yourself. Your parents are coming from out of town, you put them in a hotel. Right? Who is place for parents? Who is place for in-laws? No, it's so complicated. Go to the hotel, we come to visit you an hour a day. We had a mother, a woman in the preschool, her husband got sick. She didn't want her kids to get sick from him. You know what she did? She sent them to a hotel. I loved it. I told Miriam, he deserves it. And if he is going to the hotel, he really deserves it.
Oh my God.
The more full you are, the less space you have for others. The more you're humble, the more there is space for others. That Adam and Adam Elyon, actually, it's one. It's one comes because the other. We see it on Yom Kippur. Why we wear white clothing on Yom Kippur? When you wear a kittel, white. Why white?
Like the angel.
Pure.
What other explanation? Why white?
It's plain.
Why white?
Clean.
White.
A holiness.
That's what the Kohen Gadol is.
Also, when you went there.
It's humble.
Why?
White?
Why is white humble?
We're talking about humbleness.
No.
Although it's made of all colors.
Why white?
Say it.
Why when people wear white?
You said it.
Important occasion. Weddings.
But it's not.
When every one of us going to wear white.
On Yom
Die.
Kippur.
Grave.
Shrouds are white. Now, what does this mean? Shroud? You dress a person when he's dead. What do you dress him with?
Okay.
It's
A
white.
cloth?
White.
Yeah.
Then white, really, when you ask a regular, you are so programmed already, you only know about the angels. You ask a regular guy in a regular shul why he wears white, it reminds me the day of death.
Oh.
On the other hand, we say the angels. That's a contradiction? No. When can you get closer to think like an angel when you remember that you are nothing? You're just dust.
Wait a minute.
It's not oive. That's the way to come to anything spiritual, to understand that we are humble. That's what Hashem says. Let's continue.
Indeed.
Indeed. I will not contend forever, nor will I always be wrathful, for the spirit that is enfolded in the body is from me, and I have made the souls.
I have made the souls. The spirit, God says I cannot be too much angry because I have made the souls. The spirit that is unfolded, He made the souls. Now, the whole book of Tanya is based on one of this concept. I made the souls, plural. Why it's plural?
Because we have more than one soul.
See, this teaches us there is more than one soul in every one of us. There is the nefesh elokit and nefesh abahamit.
So there are different levels.
There is the godly soul and the animal soul. There is the soul who wants to be alive, the soul who wants to exist, and there is the soul who is a part of God Himself above. God breathed into the person, into the nostril of the human being. When you're breathing in, it means you're taking. When I speak, some breath comes out of my mouth, but it's not. It's an outside, it's an external breath, because it doesn't take much effort. I can talk and talk forever. That's the best proof. When you blow up a balloon, you get very tired, because it's coming from inside. That any other creation of the world is a breath of the world. God created the world with words, breathing. But He created, He breathed, it's written, He breathed into the human being, into Adam, a soul, that the inside of God came into him. This soul is a part of God above. And every one of us has two souls. As the animal soul that wants, not necessarily bad, the desire to exist, to be alive. Just with the godly soul, you might die because you fast the whole day for Yom Kippur. You make Yom Kippur every day. You want to be closer to God. What happened really to the two sons of Aaron, that the godly soul took over so much that they lost it. They lost their connection to reality. That's what really happened to them. But that's a whole different story. But the point is, God created two souls. We need both of them. We need the Adam Elyon. We need the Adama. We need both of them, and that's what God created. And we have the two, and that's why we are people feel like hypocrites. Anybody who starts a journey to Judaism, he tells you, my friend, tell me I'm an hypocrite. Oh, if you go to Chabad, why you do this? If you're making Friday night dinner, why you do this? I'm an hypocrite. Know what the answer is? You're not an hypocrite. I'll tell you why. First of all, on a simple level, you tell them he's an hypocrite too. If yesterday I didn't help my wife, I should help her today too. To be consistent, what am I? You're an hypocrite. Yesterday you didn't wash the dishes. Today you didn't wash the dishes. What is this? But an hypocrite is, number two, is an hypocrite too, no matter who the Jew is or a non-Jew. Is he holding on to his beliefs every day of his life? Every day? I can find it one day he went a little off. But the main thing, that's the real answer. There are two personalities within us. It's not like the same person. We are not schizophrenics. Don't have split personalities. We don't know what we want. There is two forces within us who are trying to take over us. It's the godly force wants to use us for good things, and the animal force wants to use us for bad things. Two armies fighting over a city. You know, there is the Stadtlach in Poland that every week they were under different control. Today it was Hungary, tomorrow it's Poland, tomorrow it's Russia. This army takes over, and you are under Poland. Tomorrow the other army. The person, then we are constantly, there is a war between the two souls. A constant struggle. Yesterday the animal soul took over, fine. Nothing happened. Today it's a new fight. God doesn't want you to be perfect. What he wants from us is never give up. That's what he wants. And you look, you see it on sick people. The moment you give up, this is it. It's a matter of a day or two. It's not giving up. We don't even, but if God wants us to be righteous, he wouldn't give us only a God. God never wanted you to be righteous. God wants from you the fight. God wants people who are fighting, fighters. Not to give up. Yesterday you made a mistake. Yesterday you failed. Yesterday you stumbled. Fine, that was yesterday. This morning I'm getting up, fighting again, and I'm fighting again, and fighting again. That's what God wants from us.
Is that why in the world to come, the resurrection, the animal soul, the flesh, is also being part of the like my mind it is thinks only of the soul. What do you think? Both?
It's all other discussion.
So is it then? It's not so bad that the Jewish people were stiff-necked in some ways.
Not only it's not so bad,
It's
the biggest compliment that the Jewish people have, sticking to people. We wouldn't be around if we wouldn't be stubborn. It's true that because you are stubborn, we're impossible. On the other hand,
But it saves us.
that's why God created a stiff neck. When God said you're stiff-necked people, Moses used the same argument for us from God to forgive us. He said, there are stiff-necked people. What are you going to argue? You're going to fight them again and again and again. There are stiff-necked people. Absolutely. If my father wouldn't be stubborn, I wouldn't be here today. What's the question? The Jews, all of us who are here, is because of our parents who were so stiff-necked. If not for the non-stiff-necked Jews, their children are not here. They're nowhere. It's only the stubborn Jews who hold on to the religion, despite all the forces who said it's never going to work. No, in 2050 there will be no Jews in America. In 2075 there will be no Jews in all this prophet of dooms. You clean it up on the table, you throw it out like this, and you move on. You hold on and you stake it and you survive it. Because Judaism is despite all odds. It doesn't make sense, it'll never have to make sense. Let's continue.
For the sin of his greed, as well as for going after the rebellious impulses of his heart, I became wrathful and struck him, angrily concealing myself. I have seen him mend his ways, so I will heal him. I will guide him, and with consolation recompense him, and those who mourn for him.
That Hashem says, on one hand, he got upset with the Jewish people because they did bad. But when he sees them that we are repenting, making we amend our ways, God will comfort us and help us. Now he says, go ahead, continue.
The Lord, creator of the speech of the lips, says,
The Lord, creator of the speech. The Lord is kind of creating a language. Created the speech. And also he creates the world by speech. That means the speech is very important. You create a language, the way you talk, that's the way you behave. The language that you use that affects everybody in the way of thinking and the way of our behavior. And it's a very, very important thing. And then go ahead, can finish this line. Shalom, shalom.
Peace, peace to him who is far and to him who is near.
Shalom, shalom, לרחוק ולקרוב. Shalom, everyone knows. Here, they translated peace, peace, but Shalom. Shalom, shalom. I remember many years ago I was standing in the holiday service. I started the speech, I said shalom. Why I'm saying shalom? Because in Hebrew, shalom is hello and goodbye. It says hello to the people who just walked in, goodbye to the people who are just about to leave. A little bit, it's based on this line. Shalom, shalom, לרחוק ולקרוב. The Talmud says, an amazing line. Rabbi Avor said it. Rabbi Avor was a rabbi who lived in Israel, in Caesarea. He was from the later rabbis, also a little bit during Rabbi Yochanan time, maybe, yeah, I think so. And he was more, because he lived in Caesarea, it was considered the city of all the Romans lived there, the elite. It was the Washington DC of Israel. And the elite Jews were living there too. Then what is Rabbi Avor says? Rabbi Avor says, the same verse is being translated by many rabbis in different ways. Rabbi Avor says, God says, welcome to the Rachok ולקרוב. What is Rachok? Rachok. Far. And Karov? Near. God says, hello to the far and to the near. Who you say hello first? To the guy who is near or the guy who is far? Karov, who are you speaking first? I'm saying hello to you, then say hello to her. And then the guy who is... Hashem says, hello to the Rachok before the Karov. To the Jew who is lost, we say, Hashem says hello to him before to the Jew who is close. God listens to the Jew who is lost before he's Jew. Who says this? Rabbi Avor. Rabbi Avor is a man who dealt with this kind of Jews. And he took this verse from Isaiah and he says, you know what Hashem is saying here? God says hello to the people far before to those who are near. That's what God is saying. L'rachok v'l'karov. Then many Jews come to Shul on Yom Kippur. God says hello to the guy. He says the first time he says, hi! And the guy who comes to regular every says, guy, what's up with me? You're here every week.
It's like you missed the one that's and the one is close, right?
What?
You missed the
You
person.
missed the one who is far, but the message is not only about God, it's about us to go out and reach out. Really, that's, if you want, that's the message of Chabad. The Rebbe used to walk, is going to Haftorah in 770, and he saw one Jew who looked a stranger, out of place. He got the attention. The rest of the black hats, get them out. Just for decoration. L'rachok v'l'karov. That's what the prophet is saying. The Jew is far. That's what you have to bring him in. And Rabbi Abba spoke from his experience. By the way, he was the one who once spoke about it. That's online, a whole class. He created the way we blow Yom Kippur, blow Rosh Hashanah, the shofar. He established the system, everything. That's all. But Hashem says, I'll give shalom to the far and to the near, and I will cure them. Go ahead, continue.
But the wicked are like the raging sea, which cannot be still, and its water whirl with and mud. There is no peace for the wicked, say my God.
There is
Cry
no peace for
aloud.
the wicked. It means to say they cannot find peace. They are not happy. People want more and more and more, and they cannot find happiness. They think they'll do this, they'll travel, they'll go on the moon, they go there, they go on the sun. And the earth is too small, then they go on a cruise, they finish a cruise, they'll try biking, they finish biking, they try the other, every other 2 years is another hobby. They don't find happiness. Because you have to find, happiness is in spirituality. Happiness is right here, not anywhere. Many Jewish kids go to the Dalai Lama and they go there and they think it's in their own backyard. Okay, now God is speaking, so to speak, to the prophet. What is he telling him?
Cry aloud, do not restrain yourselves. Raise your voice like the shofar, and tell my people their transgression, the house of Jacob their sin.
Okay. קרא בגרון. Cry aloud with your throat. The throat is the one that can be louder. Do not restrain yourself. Don't be afraid. Raise your voice like a shofar. That's one of the places that we know that you raise your voice like a shofar. That the shofar is here as a wake-up call. But why it's like a shofar? What's the point? Why is the Torah comparing the sound of the voice of the prophet to a shofar? The shofar is, the God tells to a person, if you want to reprimand the Jewish people, you have to be like a shofar. What is unique about the shofar?
Its sound is primal.
It's a simple sound, first of all. But the shofar, you ever saw a straight shofar? Shofar is bended. That's a difference than a shofar and a trumpet, exactly. If you want to reprimand Jews, you better be bended. Be humble. Nobody's going to listen to you and say, oh, you should do this. You have to be bended. You have to be humble. You have to be broken. And the shofar has to be a sound, and only then you can be a shofar, the shofar for God's words. Only then God can speak through your mouth. Raise your voice and tell my people their sin and the house of Jacob. No, then my people their transgression, what he says? Their transgression in the house of Jacob, their sins. What's the difference between my people and the house of Jacob?
What Israel? Could be.
We always see in the Bible, house of Jacob. House of Jacob.
Speak to the women first.
That's
You
right.
remember? It's written, God tells Moses, Koi soimer lebes Yaakov. That's what you should speak to the house of Jacob. Betaged lebnei Israel, and tell the people of Israel. The Talmud says, the house of Jacob is the women. The people of Israel is the men. The house of Jacob used to speak Tomar, should speak a soft language. To the sons of Israel, Taged, speak harsh word, give it to them. Based on this, the transgression, that's my people, means the men. And the house of Jacob is just their, what is it to the house of Jacob?
Their sin.
Their sin. You know the difference between transgression and sin? What's the difference between transgression and sin? Chet, avon, vepesha. What's the difference between a chet and a pesha? Al kulam elokaz, slach lo, numecha kaperlon, right? Chet, avon, vepesha. There is 3 words that you see. Oh, it's in Yom Kippur is full of this. I'll just find it for you. Look on page 222. It's in many places, but this is one of them. The end of the first paragraph, 3 lines before the end. To have mercy on us and forgive us on all our sins, grant us atonement for all our iniquities, and forgive and pardon us for all our transgressions. You see the difference? Transgressions, sins, and iniquities. There's a sin, there's an iniquity in the transgression. What's the difference between these three? Then we'll talk about the main two. transgression and sin. Transgression is something that I do purposely. I did make a decision to do it wrong. Sin, chet, is a mistake. I missed something. Even iniquities is a mistake, but chet is even more. I didn't do it completely. It was inadvertently. I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident. It was a mistake. I didn't know enough. And God says, to the men, you tell them their sins, their transgressions, what they purposely did wrong. Beit Yaakov, the house of Jacob, if they did anything wrong, it's just a miss. They missed it.
Well, the house of Jacob was the sins.
Do I?
But
Sin
the
is a
transgression
Is the man
transgression is stronger than the sin.
much stronger? It's also in the
I thought it's the opposite.
That's what I thought. I always heard that.
There is it's in the prayers from Yom Kippur and the Amidah from Yom Kippur 1,000 times. I just don't want to make you.
It's for the sin of this and the sin of this and the sin.
For the sin, that's all
Oh,
chet.
that's the El Chet.
That's it, al-chet is only for the sin, you're right. But what I mean to say is, you can see that's the introduction to the al-chet, what I just told you.
That's because you
It's right here.
can rectify the
It's on
sin
22,
easier than
yeah.
the transgression.
Yeah, that's what I showed you.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that why?
What?
Is that why? Because you can rectify a sin easily than a transgression.
Sure, transgression is much more serious than a sin.
The El Chet and the Shimon Esrei.
Yeah, the same thing. That's what I showed you before. There's also the introduction to the al-chet. And that's why we say, slach lonu, mechal lonu, kaper lonu. It's one for slach, it's for the little sins, for the mistakes. Mechal is for the iniquities. Kaper, aton is for the transgression. Everyone is for a different one. Okay, let's continue.
Daily they pretend to seek me, desiring knowledge of my ways, as if they were a nation that has practiced righteousness and has not forsaken the laws of its God. They ask me concerning laws of righteousness. They seemingly desire the nearness of God.
God is speaking here about people who are religious. Here is like the turning point, really. They're pretending like they're asking for God, they're learning Torah, they're asking how to do it, they're caring for all the mitzvahs. Religious Jews. They look like they want but why they do it? They want the closeness of God. It's all about them motivated because they want to be closer to God. And then because they do all the right thing, they come to God, to come to the prophet with a complaint. What's the complaint? Continue.
They ask, "Why have we fasted, and you have not seen, afflicted ourselves, and you have paid no heed? Behold, on the day of your fast, you pursue your affairs, and you forcibly exact payment of all debts to you."
Okay. First of all, the first half of the verse teaches us that fasting and afflicting goes together. You understand? Why we have fast and you didn't see? Why we afflicted ourselves and you don't know? That means here is the commentary to affliction. What is affliction? Fasting. But
It seems like there's fasting, but there's also afflicted ourselves. Is there something else?
No. You made that, yeah. Like
So maybe not drinking?
No. Eating and drinking is all a part of fasting. Not wearing leather shoes is afflicting. Not having relations, not to take a shower, that's only a part of the affliction. Then it says that they complain why we are fasting. We do all the right thing, we are fasting, and you don't even listen. What's going on here? Something in the system doesn't work. That the second half of the verse, God is answering to us. On the day of fasting, you are pursuing your needs, right? What is he saying now? Where is it?
Behold.
You pursue your affairs,
Yes.
and forcibly exact payment of all debts to you.
You are collecting payments from people that you cannot afford it. Continue.
Indeed, you fast for quarrel and strife, and to strike with the fist of wickedness. You do not fast in keeping with the spirit of the day, to make your voice be heard on high.
You know, he speaks about eating with the spirit of with the fist. What do you do with the fist on Yom Kippur? He says, guys, you're making this, you're doing this. You care for Jews. You think that's the fasting that we need? That's not a fasting that I need. And now it comes to the punchline. Go ahead.
It is this way that I would choose for a fast, a day for man to afflict himself. It is to bow down his head like a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him. Do you call this a fast, the day of pleasing the Lord? Rather, this is...
Well, then all of this is a question mark. This whole line. This is the fast that I'm choosing? A day a person should fast and go around like this? Go with ashes on his head and a sackcloth? Is this a day of pleasing God? A day that makes God happy? Here is the answer. Here is the fast that I want. Go ahead.
Rather, this is the fast that I would choose. Loosen the fetters of the wickedness, undo the bonds of oppression, send the crushed to freedom, and break every oppressive yoke.
You see, God doesn't say, I don't want fast. But He says, I want a fast that is covered with actions. That you can back it with good behavior. That's a fast that I want. You know, it's the same thing it was about sacrifices. The Jews used to make sacrifices, and you hear from all the prophets, from King David, from Samuel. Samuel tells Saul, when Saul was offering sacrifices, didn't listen to God, what he tells them, God needs the sacrifices. God wants people to listen to Him. That means that God doesn't want sacrifices. No, God created the sacrifice. God is in the law. I want sacrifices, the right sacrifices. I want a fast, the right fast. I want prayers, the right prayers. If the prayers are instead of the behaving, if the fasting is a cover-up for not doing good, right, if sacrifices are not backed up by good behavior, I don't need it. I don't want it. It makes me nervous, it makes me angry. Not only it makes me, but the same thing He says here. Here is the type of fast that I want. Doesn't mean people take it to the other extreme. Oh, we don't need fasting, you just need to be... No, God doesn't say you don't have to fast. God says you have to be a mensch and to be religious. Both of them. Continue.
Indeed, offer your bread to the hungry, bring the wandering poor into your home. When you see someone naked, clothe him, and do not turn away from your own flesh.
Wow. Give, simple as that. Give to the poor, food to the hungry. Very simple. But you know what? Most of the people that we know, most of the Jews, our neighbors, are not hungry, right? Nobody in Solomon is hungry. It's a fact. We have a obesity problem in the state. Hungry people do not have obese problems. It's a fact. In Russia, people were not obese because they had nothing to eat. They were skinny. Obesity is a problem, but it's not a problem of hunger. Yeah, because they're poor, they don't have food. I know all this. Nobody is hungry. That's a fact. 99% of the people are not hungry. Finished. Get it to people should get it in America at least. Thank God, Baruch Hashem, most of the people are not hungry. What does this mean for us? The Torah, there is another part, I think from the Jeremiah or from Isaiah. He says, there will come days, nobody will be hungry for bread. Lo ra'av lalechem velo tzama lamayim. You're not hungry for bread and you're not thirsty for water. Ki im lishmoa dvar Hashem, to learn the words of God. People are hungry spiritually. They are deprived spiritually. They are very skinny spiritually. And here it says even more, when you see a naked person, what means a naked person? Dressed. You're hungry for Torah and naked for mitzvahs. The Torah is compared to food. You will come to a class, you learn something, you walk away with it, you eat it. It's in you. Mitzvahs is compared to clothing. You put on the tefillin, it's on you. You take off the tefillin, it's off for you. You see a naked person, he doesn't put on tefillin. He never did it in his life. He never did a mitzvah. He never ate a matzah. He never lit candles. You dress him. Every generation has a call. The generation before us, our fathers, we were talking, the Jews who came to America were refugees, poor, they didn't have what to eat. That the whole the federations, there was all the right thing to do, the Joint and the Ayas and the whole good organizations who did, the Naamat and all of them, were to feed the people. The Jews in Israel were hungry, the Russian Jews were hungry, the refugees who came from the Holocaust, we had to take care of them. Thank God we live in a generation nobody is hungry. These problems are not there. We have to utilize all our efforts, all our funds, all our finances, everything to save a Jewish child. He should be Jewish. He's fed, he's happy. But he's hungry for spirituality. He might be lost for spirituality because he doesn't even know that he's hungry. And that's the message for us in our generation. And for this you need a Rebbe in every generation to tell you what to focus on. Usually we always focus on the one generation before. They're always, because the generation, until it takes time until the generation gets the message. By the time they get the message, it's over already. It's already too late, kind of. Many times it's very sad, but you always wake up a little too late. Then the message of this generation, the Rebbe started outreach in the 50s. Chabad now is big, but you know what? A little bit, too little, too late. That's what it is. Now, shekoyach. And 80% of assimilation. Now there is a lot of Chabad rabbis. It's nice, but the Rebbe wanted in the 50s, not in the 2017. The Rebbe sent out Chabad. The first Chabad rabbis went to Morocco. There was a lot of Jews there, huge poverty, and he saved a lot of Jews to Yiddishkeit and everything. They barely established themselves for 10 years. In the 60s, the Jews in Morocco started to live. Go to France, they went to Israel, they went to other countries. You know what I mean? It's like the message of our generation, the call of our generation is dress the naked, feed the poor with spirituality. Nobody is hungry. It's nice if you invite them Friday night dinner for break the fast, for the meal before the fast. But while you break the fast, give them a little bit spirituality in the meal. Top of page 208.
Then will your light break through like the dawn, and your healing speedily sprout forth. Your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will gather you in.
Beautiful.
Then.
Continue.
Then when you call, the Lord will answer. When you cry out, he will respond. Here I am. If you would but remove oppression from your midst, the threatening finger and malicious speech, if you would open your heart to the hungry and satiate.
Okay, then what he says here is, when is God going to hear you? When you care for others. Physically, spiritually, when you care for others. And it's not only about me. If it's me, God says, if you're selfish, why should I care for you? And I do something for another person. Oh, now we're talking. If you take care of one of my children, now we're talking. Physically or spiritually. Continue.
Here I am, if you would but remove oppression from your midst, the threatening finger and malicious speech, if you would open your heart to the hungry and satiate the afflicted soul, then your light will shine in the darkness, and your deep darkness will be as bright as noon. The Lord will always guide you and satiate your soul with radiance. He will give strength to your bones, and you will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never cease.
A spring whose water never ceased. As water that cease, a spring that is water cease from time to time is considered in the Talmud misleading spring. It's not real. It's not true. Sometimes there is water, sometimes there's no water. A real spring is to be a spring that goes on forever.
Like a mikveh.
A mikveh is to be connected to a spring that goes on forever. It's true. Go ahead. You want to continue?
Yeah. Let's see. In the merit of your good deeds, they shall build ancient ruins, and you shall reestablish the foundations of former generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to settlements.
You know, it says yesterday a breach in Israel collapsed. You read about it? It's literally next to my house. It's a breach for human beings. For
Bridge? Did you say?
a breach.
Freeway 4.
And what happened is that a truck with a big crane went it up and did a hit, and he killed him, the driver himself. But first of all, it was a huge miracle because it could be 100 people could die for such a thing. Now, one person died. I mean, it's said it wasn't one soul. But somebody wrote, this is from Bnei Brak to the other part of the city. It's a kind of a breach between religious and non-religious people. It says it was one breach, and even this bridge broke. It's all about making the bridges. Continue.
Well, can I just say something? It seems like what this is saying is that our good deeds today can repair the past bad deeds.
This is true. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
If you restrain your feet because of the Shabbat from attending to your affairs on my holy day, and you call the Shabbat delight, the day made holy by the Lord honored, and you honor it by not following your customary ways, refraining from pursuing your affairs, and from speaking profane things.
Oh, here he comes to speak about what is Shabbat. The prophet Isaiah describes, says the spirit of Shabbat. Yeah, there is many people who will not do anything. They will not work on Shabbos. But he says, what is Shabbat? Not to pursue your own activities. You should call it, you should make it into a day of pleasure, a day of delight. That's why you have to eat good food. All of the idea of pleasuring the Shabbat comes from this verse in the book of Isaiah. To honor the Shabbat and to pleasure and to delight the Shabbos. Honoring Shabbos is by nice clothing. Pleasuring the Shabbos is by good food. What is he saying? Don't be busy with your own thing. Don't speak about mundane things. There is one thing, you're not allowed to deal with money. But what about, should I plan my trip? Should I speak about business in shul? No, I'm allowed to do it. That biblically you are allowed, but it's against the call of the prophet. Allah says, for this you should learn that these words, the quote, you should not speak, your words of Shabbat should not be like the words of the weekday. That's why there is a Jewish law that says, Jewish people, when they speak about money on Shabbos, you know how they say? Instead of $2, $2. The joke goes, then the guy says, I have a car for sale. How many challahs you want for it? I want 2,000 challahs. Comes an hour later, says, I'm ready to give 2,000 challahs. Says, no, already I gave it to another guy for 3,000 challahs. Then obviously you miss the point. But you can, if you think about it, today's business is all about words. Every one of us. What do? A meeting, an email, a phone call, a meeting. You do anything? You do fingers? Nothing. Then what's business? Business is talking. Then you can be in shul on Shabbos and do business. There's a famous joke about the doctor came to the lawyer. He says, everybody in shul is asking me advice. What do I do? What should I do? He says, after Shabbos, send him a bill. After Shabbos, he gets a bill from the lawyer. What the prophet is saying here, wake up. Where were you all these years? Every advice you just sent in 15 minutes, whatever it is. Because it was insured, it's work is work, business is business. You're collecting after Shabbos, you don't even touch any money, nothing. It was pure. The prophet is saying here, what? The Shacharit is speaking here about the spirit of Yom Kippur, and he's speaking like a by-the-way about the spirit of Shabbat. It's not enough not to work. What kind of a Shabbat table is if you speak about mundane thing? What kind of Shabbat is that you're busy with you're going around on your property and you're checking out? There is stories about a chassid, a pious Jew that he went in the time of the Talmud, went in his backyard, in his vineyard, in his orchard, and he walked through Shabbat, and then he started to say, we have to fix it, we have to fix that. And he decided not to fix it forever. It's a reminder that on Shabbat you shouldn't be busy with mundane things. And that's the spirit of Shabbat. Let's just finish it.
Then you shall delight in the Lord, and I will make you ride on the high places of the earth. And I will nourish you with the heritage of Jacob your father, thus the mouth of the Lord has spoken.
What he says here, when you will behave, when Yom Kippur will have the right spirit, when Shabbat will have the right spirit, then you will write on the high place of the earth, and you will get the heritage of Jacob your father. Means Abraham and Isaac, it's not the ultimate. Jacob is the ultimate, because all his children continue the Jewish people. And the prophet says this is the word of the mouth of God, from God's mouth. That's what God wants from us. Then it's all about this Haftorah. It's all about, guys, don't be only busy with the rituals. Don't forget of the spirit, the message that the rituals have in them.
That's what time is it out today?